So apparently this woman's son got groomed for his sexuality and his gender.
I took my son to the pediatrician. This happened, and I'm highly effing offended. Okay, so my son plays sports. In order to be actively participating in the sports at school, you
It's
have to
always
have a
about
sports
sports,
physical
isn't it?
on file every single year. I took him to the pediatrician for this sports physical. Whenever any of us go to a doctor's visit, we all know that they do the triage. They do the blood pressure, the height, the weight, and all that right when you get there. And so when we get there, they're going to take him to do the triage like they do any other time. What ended up happening was they put us in a room without doing triage. When they put us in the room, they called my son out by himself, and she was like, oh, we're just gonna go do the weight and the height and everything. And I was like, okay, cool, no problem. They took him around the corner, and I could see like the side of his chair, and I could see like half of his body, but I couldn't see like the little nook that she was in where she was writing everything down. You know, it was not a big deal, but I kind of just stuck my head out just a peek. You know, I'm a mom and I'm nosy. I've been in prison. Like, I want to.
After all of these situations, after all of these events that I've seen, eventually, if I have kids, I would never allow my kid, especially if it's a little kid, to walk inside the doctor's room alone. If he's 16, yeah, sure, fine. Especially if I have a daughter, then yeah, obviously, above a certain age, I'm not gonna be inside the fucking room, obviously. But in these cases, yeah, after all of this, I'll bring my wife.
See what's going on. So I'm just standing in the doorway of the patient room, and I'm like watching him. I end up seeing that after she does the blood pressure, the height, and the weight, she ends up handing him a clipboard with a piece of paper. In my mind, I'm like, oh, that's peculiar.
Oh, no.
Number one,
I just
I've already
clocked
answered
what
all
it
the
is.
health questions, like the medical history. Number two, why would you give it to a 12-year-old kid? Like, he doesn't know his medical history. But again, like, I've already answered all that. So what the heck is that form? But I did want to help, so I thought, let me walk over there and just make sure he doesn't need my help with any of these questions. I end up walking over there. I look over his shoulder and I see that, you know, he's checking things off and he's answering questions. And I'm like, all right.
I'm 24 right now. A few weeks ago, I hurt my leg and I went to my main doctor, and my dad came with me. And I had to fill up some stuff, had to, tell the doctor some information. My dad was inside with me because why not? And I'm 24. My dad just came with me because the whole situation happened while I was with him. So if I was on her place, I would immediately ask, hey, what's this document? You're giving a kid a document without telling the parent, especially a 12-year-old kid? I remember being 12 in elementary school, and the teachers and other people working in the school would give us documents, stuff that are meant for us, but the documents are meant for the parents to read, so they make the decisions of what the school should do for the kids. Same here.
Yeah, babe. Like, you're
Especially with
answering
medicine.
everything on your own. You've got this. You're growing into a great little man, very independent, self-sufficient. It's all good. I'm going to leave it alone. I'll talk to him about what they were asking later and make sure that he understands the severity of answering these questions accurately, because it has to do with health, or so I thought. So I walk away and I go back into the room. About a minute or so later, he comes back in the room with the nurse and he sits down. The nurse closes the door and she's like, the doctor will be in a minute. Before I could even utter one word, my son looks at me and says, Mom, that was the weirdest form I've ever had to fill out. Of course, now my interest is piqued and I'm like, what kind of form was it? He's like, they asked me if I was
gay, straight, or bisexual.
They asked me if I felt like I was the gender that I was assigned to at birth. They asked me if I ever felt like I was a different gender. They asked me what gender I am.
Every doctor watching this, listen, I get your liberal understanding stuff. I have liberal friends. They're not crazy like this. But God fucking damn it, when I'm at a doctor, it doesn't matter if I'm a kid or an adult. When I'm at a doctor, you're checking me about my biology, about my chemistry, not about what I think about my sexuality and my gender, okay? If I have a fever or a broken bone or a sexually transmitted disease, you need to help me out with that shit. And not, who do I like fucking, guys or women? Or what do I think of my gender? Am I a fucking clown, a wolf, or a woman, or whatever?
If I best with, how much I ate every day, how many hours I slept, and things that I know that they ask during psych evaluations at the prison. That's where they ask you in that type of setting, like in mental health settings. Everything was kind of weird at that moment, and in my mind, I instantly got pissed the hell off. So the doctor comes in a few minutes later, and I'm like, hey, doc, I don't know when you guys started this, but I don't appreciate you guys giving a 12-year-old that form, particularly my 12-year-old, when you don't know if that subject matter has been even discussed in
Yeah,
our household. You don't know if
obviously.
he knows what these words and terms mean. For the record, he does. I mean, I think most 12-year-olds probably do, but that's
When I was 12, you know what I gave a fuck about? I gave a fuck about games, sports, just goofing off with my friends and having fun. I have little cousins. They're both women. They're both girls. They aren't 12. They're much younger. But I've noticed on their IG feed, on their TikTok feed, I've watched some, IG reels and TikToks with them for fun and laughs. And I've noticed from time to time there's a random person explaining, telling everything what they think about, the world, with politics, gender and stuff. You know what they do? They just scroll past. You know why? Because they see it as politics. They don't give a fuck about it. Now, not every single kid is like me and my cousins, but goddamn,
besides
as
the
the
point.
parents.
They don't know that. You don't know if now I'm going to have a conversation with my child discussing why he's being asked this, what the relevance is to his life, and explaining things that he may not have previously known and I didn't want to discuss just yet because I didn't think it was age appropriate. You can't make that generalization because the reality is that 12-year-olds, most of them, they're not engaging in sexual behavior and everything they hear is just from social media. They don't even know a lot of the time at that age, like what actual real information is, like what is legit and what.
Also, at that age, you're dumb, you're gullible, you're very easily manipulated, and you just might do shit just because it sounds fun. That's it. Like crazy stunts. I've done them. The alcohol, the first time I drank alcohol, beer, was when I was 10. You know why? Because I was dumb and crazy. I was just dumb and crazy. So
They just hear on social media and from their friends.
I don't
They
need to
might not
explain
know
what might
their
end up happening.
Birth assignment was. They might not know what transitioning is. And why would they if it hasn't been something that's come up in their household before? And you wouldn't know that because you didn't bother to ask. So at the
Exactly.
very least, I would have appreciated if you would have brought that to me, said, hey, mom, scan this real quick. If you're okay with us giving it to your child, then, we would like to. And that would have been
That
fine.
was my
But you
experience.
didn't. You did it in a sneaky way. You put us in the room together. Then you called him out by himself. And then you gave him this form, this very explicit form with very detailed, personal, invasive questions. And you
Yep.
didn't even bother to give me a heads up. What if we had never discussed that before and he got in the car and now all of a sudden he wanted to know all these things and I was thinking that it's not age appropriate. I was going to wait till he was 14 or 15 and now you've just created a problem. Or what if you have a very impressionable and naive child and now you actually have plans?
It's like telling an 8-year-old, hey, you don't have to tell your parents. Cigarettes are fucking awesome. Drugs, amazing. Try some. It's the same
Where they're gonna go
thing.
searching. So she's like, oh, well,
Criminal shit.
we just want to be inclusive and afford the opportunity for every kid to feel comfortable. And I said, I understand inclusivity and I understand leaving no child behind or their feelings. That's valid. But there's a difference between recognizing that a child needs to talk to somebody about something that they may not be able to talk.
The definition of inclusivity needs to be changed. Inclusivity of adults of different races, different genders, different sexualities. Great. But influencing little kids, especially kids that aren't your kids, about all this crazy shit, that shouldn't be what inclusivity is.
Something that they may not be able to talk about at home and introducing subject matter and planting a seed about something that has never come up. And you wouldn't know what case you're dealing with because you didn't bother to ask the parent. I flipped out. I left. I'm not going back. When did they just start discarding the parent's role in this whole situation? You're going to
Yep.
take a
We're
12-year-old's
doomed.
word
The
on
world
all
is
of this
doomed.
stuff without even consulting the parent? What if he would have answered those questions crazy because he didn't even know what the hell was going on? And then now there's a case of, oh, the parents not wanting this or not allowing that, and but we're going to still take this kid and like, what?
Would you allow your kid to get a tattoo at age 12, let's say? I wouldn't, because it's something permanent and he might regret it a lot, or she, whatever. Would you let your kid take drugs, take steroids because they want to be a bodybuilder at the age of 12? No, hell nah, because that's even more permanent and it'll do even more damage. Then why shouldn't the answer of a parent saying no to my kid's getting transition surgery because if his body parts get chopped off surgically, obviously, and he's injected hormones or blocked some other hormones, It will also get even more permanent damage if he or she later regrets it. So I'll leave my kid to do what the hell he wants to do with all this stuff when he or she is a fully grown adult, obviously.
My mind spun out. So I just want to know what you guys think. Please don't come on here talking about I'm phobic this and phobic that.
Nope.
I'm not. When you take a child to go do
She's
something
100%
without the parents'
on point.
knowledge or consent, it feels very sneaky and very shady, and I didn't appreciate it. Okay, felt like there was some kind of agenda or narrative that was underlying here, that was being pushed upon
Yep.
my child that I was
Yep.
not aware of, and I don't approve. I figured I could get some insight from the world and just see, I don't know, just put some feelers out there, you know, before I blow a gasket and go prison on the medical staff.
So I found this article from American College of Pediatricians. What does science tell us? So this is a full article of what is and is illegal and moral and immoral when it comes to, you know, kids and pediatricians and parents. If you want to read it, you can read it. It's for the US, obviously. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I am 100% on board with what she said. I wouldn't flip out and go crazy, but I would make it public for social media like she did. I think that was a good move to make more and more people aware of this stuff, even though there's probably tons of people aware of this stuff, okay? I don't care if you're left-leaning or right-leaning or far or left or centrist. I don't give a fuck. Leave my kids alone with your political fucking beliefs. I don't care what you think is wrong or right. As long as the parent is, you know, a normal functioning human and is a good parent. Well, she was in jail, so I don't know about her, but I'm talking in general. If the parent is a normal functioning parent, just because of their political beliefs, their kids shouldn't be fucking brainwashed by others. Just because they think they're in the right. Okay? Have a nice day. Take care. Keep yourself and your kids safe from everybody. I don't trust anybody anymore. Like, nobody. Not even myself. Bye.